Did you know that Klonoa has games? Klonoa games? Klonoa games? Klonoa games?
And I'm not talking about the two main games, no. There's this beach volleyball game that coincidentally released on the same day that my friend Akechi 2 was born. Yet I am the one making the video. Anyways, I recently played through the game, and here's my review. I might be a bit biased towards the subject matter, and well, I'll say yes. If you have a problem with it, well, cry about it. It's my video.
Klonoa Beach Volleyball, also known as Klonoa Bichibare Saikyochi Muketaisen in Japanese, is a PlayStation 1 title released in 2002. Why wasn't it released for the PlayStation 2 instead? I don't know. Developed by Namco, who at the time was known for classics such as the Mr. Driller series and Rescue Shot. Everyone has heard of Rescue Shot. Even though the Japanese version of Klonoa Beach Volleyball was published by Namco themselves, the European version was published by Sony. And before you ask about the North American version, it doesn't exist. You're forbidden to watch the video if you are from North America. That's about it with the standard Wikipedia facts. Let's actually play the game. Now that's a promising start. The game is following the simple rules of beach volleyball. 2 versus 2, the ball can touch the ground, each side can only hit the ball a maximum of 3 times before playing it to the other side. If the ball hits the ground, the opposing team gets a point. To win you need at least 10 points, and I say at least for a reason. And lastly, if the ball lands outside of the line, it's an out and the defending team gets a point. Those are the simplified rules of beach volleyball. But Klonoa adds a different spin into this formula. You see this 3x3 grid on the top left and right? Imagine those are tic-tac-toe fields, but you're the only one who's playing it. In order to mark a spot, the ball needs to land on the ground of the opposing team. The position of the landing will determine the marked spot on the grid, and multiple spots can be marked at the same time. If you manage to connect at least 3 spots together, just like tic-tac-toe, then you'll be able to use a special move. This move can give you 2 to 9 points, depending on the number of connections on the grid. For starters, we only have 8 playable and 4 unlockable characters. Every character has a class and unique stat corresponding to the class. Klonoa and Chipple are power types, meaning that their power stat is the highest one, but to differentiate the two, they have been given different stats overall. Chipple has a stronger attack than Klonoa. This means that he has more power when it comes to hitting the ball, but Klonoa has a better block, can fool the enemies better, is better at receiving the ball, and is faster than Chipple. The game knows this, hence why they add a difficulty stat below. Less points means easier character, and Chipple has a difficulty stat of 3 points while Klonoa only has 2. Next up we have balance types, which involves Lolo and Heart Moo. As the name suggests, the stats here are supposed to be more balanced. In case of Lolo, her offensive stats are really low, but her defensive stats are the highest in the game. Meanwhile, Heart Moo is an all-rounder. Up next we have the speed types with Popka and Tet. Much like the power types, the important stat for them is speed. Popka is the fastest character in the game but has next to no defense. Tet on the other hand sacrifices an entire speed point for this. Totally not overpowered, by the way. It's funny how Tet is considered a speed type when her best stat is the receiver one. And lastly we have Joka and Lerina, which are technique types. Admittedly, I have no idea what that means. Looking at the stats, it probably has something to do with the feint and block stat, but I don't know. Joka has the highest feint stat, but for some reason he's also the hardest character to play. Lerina has the best block in the game, followed up with a feint stat being at 3.5 points. For the controls, we have the left control stick that not only moves the character but also aims the ball. I recommend moving as little as possible and using the stick for aiming instead. With the X button you can pass the ball to your teammate and leap towards the ball. The leap is very important, especially with slower characters. The square button lets you hit the ball really hard. and allows you to block. The triangle button is here known as the emote button. It doesn't do anything besides that, but god do I love it. And finally the circle button, that is used for the special moves. Also, before you start a game, I highly recommend that you control both players instead of letting a CPU control one. Before you even pick a mode, the game asks you if you want to do a tutorial, which as you can guess, it's just a training mode where the controls and mechanics are explained to you. I recommend you do that if you are a new player. Moving on to game modes, Exhibition Match is pretty much free play, where you can customize the rules, set and other miscellaneous stuff. Championship mode is where you can unlock everything that the game has to offer, and that's the mode you will play the most. Alright, let's start the first playthrough. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that this game has voice acting. And it's not the kind of gibberish voice acting that we have heard in other Klonoa games. No, this time they actually speak, with the exception of Hardmoo of course. I'm mentioning this because it feels a bit uncanny hearing those characters actually speak, and for some reason they decided to make Klonoa sound British, but weirdly enough, this fits him, and the other voices are pretty good too. Anyways, we pick our characters and start. In championship mode, you have to win 5 matches to finish. After the 3rd round, you'll be thrown into the final round where you always face Garland. He hired Guns to be his teammate, and I must say, these pictures go really hard. After defeating them, Garland retaliates to his boss, Nahatum? For reference, Nahatum is the final boss of the first Klonoa game, and he looks like this. But in all honesty, I'm digging this design. Also, Garland transforms into Super Garland. After winning the grand finals, the credits show what a character does after their victory. For example, Klonoa plays more volleyball, but he accidentally breaks the windmill in the background, and he has to pay for the damages with his prize money. My favorite ending comes from Tad. I'm a Tad man by the way, if you couldn't tell. After the credits, you'll get ranked based on your performance and get something unlocked. New characters, new stages, new balls, new gimmicks, you get it. The characters you unlock are Guns and Nahatum. Both of them are power types, with Guns being the stronger character in the game and Nahatum being the slowest. Garland, who is a Garland, who is a based character. Garland, who is a balanced type that doesn't specialize in anything. And lastly, we have Super Garland, who is a super type. Yeah, you heard that right, a super type. Almost all of his stats are maxed out except for the speed stat. And for some reason, he's more difficult to play than his normal form. Yeah, the difficulty stat doesn't make much sense now, does it? But Volt stats are nasty. This character definitely gets banned. Speaking of supers, wanna see something cool and satisfying? Now this is beautiful. Not only do they give you a dopamine rush no matter if attacking or defending, they come with their own animations. Oh, you wanna see enemies ascend to heaven? Lolo is the one you're looking for. How about punching your opponents into oblivion? Triple got you covered. What about killing them? Guns.
Night night, baby. Yeah!
It's over the top, but it looks so cool. All you have to do is to play tic-tac-toe. A small price to pay for such awesomeness. What a wacky little game. While unlocking everything can feel like a chore, I think it's worth it to experience the whole game. Well, technically I haven't really done that since I played on the lowest difficulty that the game has to offer. Listen, I have to get my footage somehow. But overall, I can't say that I didn't have fun. It certainly is addicting to play once you get the hang of it. The animation and art for the game is so gorgeous. If you are a Klonoa fan or are into sport games, then this is exactly for you. Seriously, go play it. I didn't spoil the other endings just for you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then please like, subscribe and watch Psychonaut 5 and Deku Plus 5. If you're interested in other projects I've made, then check out the playlist conveniently labeled as My Projects. I also made a Mario Kart video that only 5 people have seen. I worked my ass off for that, by the way. And I wish you all a great day.